It's been a while, but I wanted to sit down and catch up with you guys on a couple of things instead of just going on, filming a thrift haul and not really getting to the core of everything. A lot of good and bad things have been happening recently. I wouldn't say bad, but it definitely is like a little bit of a learning experience. In the past couple of weeks, I have talked about adopting a dog. And I went to this rescue that I had locally. We were really excited about it. It's been something that I was thinking about for a very long time, and especially because I lost my dog last year, I wanted a little bit of puppy energy in my life again. We had to take him back because Roger's allergies were getting progressively worse with him. In that small amount of time that he was in my life, I honestly grew so attached to him, but at the same time I knew that it would be the mature decision to take him back earlier because he's a puppy, and puppies are obviously so much easier to get adopted. Took a little bit of a break from social media because I didn't want to show you guys my crying face. I'm not the cutest crier in the world, and I'm back. Roger actually got a full-time job, and I've shared a little bit about that. I think last year when I was living in Brooklyn, we talked about how he was interviewing, and honestly that process has been so long. Like, he literally has not found a job since then. We do have our eyes set on the city, and this time without roommates, hopefully, or if we do have one, it'll just be somebody that we actually know instead of just living with strangers, But yeah, that's pretty much the biggest. Oh, also, I started a shop, which I kind of already mentioned on my Instagram. I have been dwelling on this for a very long time, but I finally put it into action, and I started it like I think a week ago or something. I made little clay pins. If I could find some, I do have a couple left, so if you guys want to shop them, just follow me on my my little Instagram. It's @Diana'sDelivery if you want to check it out. But isn't it so cute? In the past couple of weeks that I've been gone, I have been doing a little bit of thrifting, so I thought I would squeeze in a little thrift haul since I know a lot of you guys enjoy that and probably only watch my channel for my thrift hauls. The first piece that I got, I actually got on ThredUp because I was just browsing on there the other day and I happened to find these for dirt cheap. But they are just these shorts. Obviously, we're very well into February right now, so there's no reason for me to buy shorts. But I think I saw these for the first time on one of my favorite Instagram fashion accounts, and I had no idea they were American Apparel. I love these little poppies on it. Kind of matches my poppy tattoo that I have. They're just so cute. They fit me really well, which is so hard to find. The second piece that I got myself is this, whoop! I dropped my mic. I thrifted at Eldraine Vintage, the one that I told you guys is my favorite. I love all this amazing texture on it. It has all these little baubles. It's originally from Liz Claiborne. It fits me really well, and I just thought it would be perfect to wear on its own, a little unbuttoned with some high-waisted mom jeans or something. I also got myself this one at the Urban Jungle next to that Eldraine Vintage. It's by Tommy Hilfiger. It's in this light baby yellow color, and it is very form-fitting compared to a lot of the other sweaters that I own. You guys know I love my oversized sweaters, but I felt like this would be a really great way to change up the silhouette a little bit, show my figure. I also love this little zip-up detail here. Kind of gives you a little bit of a V-neck situation. I found this, and it's so cute. It has all these strawberries here at the front. Did I mention it has puff sleeves? I just felt like this would be the perfect fruity sweater to wear for the winter. I was gonna say springtime. Also the springtime too, because the spring gets pretty chilly here. And then the very last piece that I have, I actually got on Poshmark, which I've never actually shopped at before, but somehow my Instagram has been becoming very aware of my very specific sense of style. I don't know how, but it's been becoming really hard for me to watch my stories, and I fell victim to this sweater. It's beautiful. It has this adorable scene of a couple with this flower heart at the center. I actually wore this on Valentine's Day because I thought it was very fitting for the holiday. And yeah, that is pretty much everything that I picked up these past couple of weeks. But now I'm gonna go straight into molding a little bit of the pins that I've been making. Welcome to my desk. I wanted to actually talk to you guys a bit about the materials that I like to use before I get into the actual clay making, because I know a lot of you guys are probably gonna ask me questions. First of all, I like to use Sculpey clay. When you get clay, it's literally hard as a, well, not hard as a rock, but it's pretty solid. The easiest thing that I found to use with that is this little pasta maker. I did thrift this at the Goodwill for only like $12 when I believe they actually retail for $60. So I got pretty lucky with this. You literally just break a piece off, you put it at the top and you squeeze it in and then like kind of work your arm until you like have this nice stretched out clay. And then I do it like maybe 2 to 3 times until it's like nice and malleable. I put it up in a ball and then I grab whatever I need. But as far as the actual tools go, I did purchase a bunch because this really helps facilitate the process of shaping and also getting the little fine details. So I went a little bit crazy on YesStyle and I picked out a bunch of different tools that I saw on different clay making forums. As of right now, the biggest tool that I like to use is my X-Acto knife to cut things more precisely. But I also have a butter knife that I took from my kitchen. I don't use this for cooking anymore because polymer clay is toxic. All of the little dotting tools have different sizes at the ends of them, and I like to use them for painting as well. So whenever I want to make little eye pupils and stuff, I can just use this to get all the details. I actually find them to be a lot easier to use than brushes. And I actually started working on some more last night. I have a little corgi butt coming up, inspired by our doggy that we had. This is probably my favorite part of the process of making clay things because it's really where I get to experiment most with shapes, but it is something that I'm still working on perfecting. To be quite frank, I like to use my hand over cookie cutters or knives to achieve my desired shapes because it's the most intuitive tool that we all have. Using my hands makes me feel like I'm connected with the process of my work, and it gives me the freedom to create almost exactly what I want. It's not always the case, so sometimes I go back in and use my tools. You might see that a little later. I remember as a kid, I used to love making little clay creatures for hours, and so when I do this, I'm taken back to a time where a little wide-eyed me saw all of the possibilities in this medium. I am really happy that I get to make clay things now, and it's just kind of funny how things just go full circle. I mean, I literally used to spend hours doing this thing with clay and I enjoyed it so much, and I never thought in a million years that I would do this. I guess right now it is a hobby, but I hope that in the future it can grow to a little bit more than that. I'm not going to put too much pressure on it because it's still something that I'm working on cultivating and that I'm trying to explore and love. It's great. Here I am just making a little sun, although right now it very much looks like a fried egg. To have some sort of similarity from the rest of my pre-baked pieces, I just kind of go back and compare the two until I get my desired size and shape. It's important to always score the pieces in between melding them together. That way they stay together for good. Because if you bake them, sometimes they fall apart if you don't do that. So yeah, very important tip I'm just adding in there. And here I'm creating the shape that I want for a little corgi butt leg, and I'm trying to make sure that I get the right amount of chonkiness and short legginess so that it closely resembles an actual little corgi's behind. I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but when I'm shaping my clay, I like to use the shapes of my hand as I stretch it to create the smooth dips that I want for, say, a pear or a heart, or whatever it may be that I'm shaping. I'm just using my hands as a way to mold it as I go, like the actual indentations and shapes that my fingers create. I'm sorry if this is just a weird explanation of it, but that's just kind of like how I think as I go. If you feel that you struggle with shaping your clay, one thing that I did before I started, actually making pins and stuff is that I would take pieces of clay and just play with it for long periods of time and kind of play with my tools and see what I liked better. I tried to cut out patterns with paper so that I could use knives to cut the exact shape that I wanted, but I found that to be very cookie cutter and it just didn't have much life to it. And I find that with my hands, I can really just mold everything smoothly and it looks more alive almost. So yeah, that's one thing I would say. These are already baked and I'm gonna pop these in the oven. It already took me quite a while. I started this vlog at around maybe 1 o'clock, so it's been a couple hours. Say hi. The day before, I decided that it might be best to continue the next day so that I can mix all of the colors right in natural light. This part is pretty self-explanatory, so I wanted to answer a few questions about my process and my feelings and thoughts on being creative. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really know much about painting. I have painted with watercolors before, but that's pretty much about all the training that I have. I might also be breaking some painting rules as I go, so please bear with me. To many of you, it might come as a surprise that all of a sudden I'm making art things on my channel now, but to me, this was a long time coming. I promise I'm not quitting on my thrift videos because I love making them so much. I'm simply adding another layer to what I do. To some, YouTube is a form of comedic joy. To others, it might be a way to gain a bit of a following. But to me, it's always been about expressing my love for capturing the simple, small details that make life happy. In many ways, I'm able to express that in my clothes, but it slowly became my job to dress for videos rather than just for me. I have to admit, I allowed this job to consume me. It consumed all of my gratitude, my happiness, and even my sorrow. I know that sounds really dramatic, but through some serious self-reflection, I started to realize that how I adorn my body is no longer the thing that I want to explore, but rather the afterthought of my everyday life. I just needed to find a balance in my creative pursuits. As I'm saying this, there's a bunch of like Canadian geese flying by and it's really loud. I don't know if my mic's picking it up, but it's pretty funny. What was I talking about again? Okay, yeah. I guess I'll now create to inspire purpose in my life, and I've decided I'm adding clay to the list of what I do as a way to add depth to my person as well. I often live in my mind rather than reality, and so being able to bring bits of my mind into reality makes me extremely content. I've practiced the idea that no matter what creative thing we set ourselves out to do, if we do it with love and patience, it will be beautiful. So don't doubt yourself. Seriously, just put in the time and it'll show in the work. That's, I think, a good rule of thumb for that. And that is my very inexperienced from experience advice to anyone that might be feeling doubtful and maybe a little afraid of a path that many often only ponder about someday following. And honestly, I just don't believe that that's what life is about. I think that we should just take the time to pursue the things that we want so badly and our soul craves rather than just leaving it for later and perhaps, I don't know, just kind of looking back and not being proud of what you've accomplished or what you've dedicated your time into, if that makes sense. A good amount of you asked me some questions on Instagram about how I stay inspired and creatively driven, and to be honest, it is an upward battle for me sometimes. It feels like I'm rolling a growing snowball up a hill rather than down, collecting every bit of myself until I get to the top. I never really quite get to the top in the end, and it will probably always be that way. Because something I've only just discovered in my mid-20s is that you never really get to the point of being your absolute best self. We are always learning until our last dying breath. Sorry, a little morbid. Because of that, we must keep our hearts and minds wide open to change, whether that be habitually or creatively. I've recently come to the conclusion that I must continue to create and explore myself no matter what I feel inside. And that, my friends, is technically how you stay inspired and creatively driven, constantly self-learning, exploring, loving, and appreciating how far you come. Just take some of that precious free time that you have and create things for the sake of your individual happiness. I promise it's simply maybe knitting a hat or painting a dog or decorating a room in a unique way will bring you joy, because that's what I do. Surround yourself with things that can visually inspire your brain to do the things you want it to do. So sometimes our brain can be our worst enemy, but there are ways to turn it into your best friend. I'm so cheesy. It's just all about the process of self-love and worth through what you decide to prioritize your time to. Anyway, to get back to the art I'm actually making here, I got asked how I choose the subjects that I make. So for this collection in particular, I pictured a picnic day at the park, and I kind of went from there. Thus, the peaches, flowers, sunshine, corgi butts, bunnies, you know, just some things you might find in an ideal park situation.
Look my finger.
She broke her nail.
This is why you don't wash dishes. Shattered, I was like...
I want to continue exploring my style of making things, and so right now I'm only just learning about what I want things to look like, but that doesn't mean they have to be lackluster. So I'm putting in a lot of love and patience into the colors that I'm mixing here, and I want to make sure that whatever I make can add a bit of joy to whoever owns it. So hopefully what I do can inspire a bit of that in you.
I'm really tired. I've been sitting here for hours. Luckily, I ran out of paint, otherwise I probably wouldn't have stopped. Good night, guys.
Things just to kind of give my packages a little bit of personality. Nothing too crazy. The first thing that I have here is just this little sticker sheet set. I already have this sticker sheet, but I wanted to keep that for my journaling, so I purchased another one just so that I can pop it on to the packaging, just make it look extra cute. This gift wrapping paper, and it is so adorable. It has a bunch of little cats and bears and pigs. And then I also got this design paper with different variations on it, and I just thought it would be perfect to use as like a little backing for my pins. Obviously this is just like regular paper, so I'm gonna have to see if I could find maybe some cardstock or something. And got these adorable stamps with the alphabet on it, and I just thought it would be great to kind of write out Diana's delivery on all the packaging. Obviously this paper is kind of big, so I am gonna just cut it out and then put the little logo on it, I guess. I was gonna actually open this up on camera, but Roger got really excited to see it, so I opened it a little bit early. And it has this cute little baby. Isn't it precious? It's a little orange. I like to tell myself it's a clementine because of my cat. Probably gonna just put it on my little shelf next to my art desk or something. I got some paint because I ran out, as you guys probably could tell from my unfinished business that I have left to do. But I got titanium white, and I made sure to get a big tube because I know that I'm going to be using a lot of this to mix all of my colors with. That is everything, but I just wanted to show you guys what I got because I don't know, I've been wanting to do stationery hauls, but since my channel is more fashion based, I thought I would just pop it into this vlog so you guys can see what I got. I'm gonna go because I have to edit this video and hopefully get it up by tomorrow. Wishful thinking, but I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.